Hi everybody, welcome to Soul Freedom Friday. We're now streaming on my business channel, I think so. I think we're on Andrea Fowkes, Past Life Regression, Intuitive Visionary. So I'm hoping we're on that channel. We'll just check. I'm just going to check. I'm just waiting for some of you to appear and just see if it's, yeah, we're live on here. So I'm just going to wait for some of you to join for a few minutes. Just get my chair comfy, maybe get yourselves comfy, you know. Oh, hi everybody, we're joining now. Hi, welcome to Soul Freedom Friday. We're going to be covering so many things going on at the moment. So if I look like I've got wet hair, I do have wet hair. So hi everyone, hi Marie, hi everyone. We've got so many notes to be covering at the moment, so many amazing things going on. There's a reason I've got slightly damp hair, and this wristband is woven with copper, and I've got copper in my shoes. So we're going to be covering all these things. Hi everyone, just giving you a few minutes to kind of gather. If you want to get a glass of water or you want to just kind of do something else, we'll start in a couple of minutes. We'll just wait. And then if you're late to joining, don't worry, because I'll upload it after so you can watch it from the beginning to the end. I'm just waiting for a few more of you to join. So we've moved from my personal page to this page. Yeah, I've just got wet hair. It's going to dry as we speak, and we'll get going. So let's all just take a deep breath, because there's so much going on and we have so much to cover today. So let's just take a deep breath. Welcome to Soul Freedom Friday with Andrea Fowkes, Past Life Regression, Intuitive Visionary. The date today is Good Friday, 10th of April, 2020. And just close your eyes, just breathe in. Much love. So, where are we going to start today? Well, as we know, there's a lot going on in the multiverse and the universe, and we're going to be covering the 26,000 year cycle of the corona stratosphere. That's what we're covering today. So basically, you know, these energies have been changing over the coming weeks and months as we've been building up to this event, and I had my awakening 20 years ago. So many of you are having a very accelerated awakening now, and it's quite tricky. That doesn't mean I haven't gone through some of what we call the ascension symptoms. And those ascension symptoms cover a lot of things. They can, because what happened a few weeks ago, especially where I live, so I can only speak for the part of the globe where I live, which is Glastonbury, Avalon. There was a massive, there's been booms for months in the sky, maybe even a year, big wind. Now there's no winds, it's just glorious sunshine, but it is extreme sunshine. And if you've noticed, the weather has changed rapidly in the last 3 weeks. Now, I have a background of living in Sedona, Arizona for months at a time. So all of a sudden, Glastonbury has gone like Sedona, Arizona, which is extreme change very rapidly. So we've gone into very high altitude living. Now, in Sedona, Arizona, people who live in that area find themselves on nebulizers and ventilators to even visit if they're older, if they have any contributing health factors already, if they live in Sedona, Arizona. Because that high altitude affects your lungs and kidneys and ability to breathe, and it can feel like they're collapsing. So when people are in Sedona, Arizona, that's what they do. They're on a ventilator or a nebulizer. Most of them probably nebulizers, I think. I may have got that slightly incorrect, just to help with their breathing, okay? Also, when you live in a high altitude place, there's more radiation in the air naturally. So that's kind of where I live in Glastonbury. That's what's happened very quickly in the space of a couple of weeks. So your body doesn't have time to adjust. When you fly to places of a different altitude, you're in an aeroplane, which is an anti-static field, okay, in an aeroplane, and all the crew wear anti-static clothing. And when that happens, you go past the Van Allen belt, okay, and somehow that earths you and grounds you to arrive in this new reality with differing weather than what you're used to, okay? So when we have something go on in the stratosphere that happens every 26,000 years, and it happens very rapidly, and you can't know for sure exactly when that's going to happen, it will have side effects on your human body, and some people will be affected more in these ascension times. So what does that mean that will happen to their bodies? It means they need time to adjust. So you need to keep your hands wet and damp and wash them regularly, because getting water on your hands will earth you and will stop you from being so static. Also, the reason to keep 2 meters apart is if you're static, you can give someone else an electric shock. Now, I personally bought the other day an anti-static jacket, which looks like a high-vis jacket, but that just keeps the static in my body when I'm walking, but I need to walk barefoot on the earth to ground it. So how do you ground that energy? If you're highly static, you feel like you're having breathing difficulties, there's lots of things you can do. Now, the reason you see people who are maybe of a certain religion, and they pray to their God, Allah, okay, and you see them praying with their knees on the floor and their elbows on the floor and their forehead on the floor, is that's very, very useful for us as humans, because when we go into these high altitude and radiation, it drains all the nutrients from our bodies very, very quickly, and it can give you a fever. And you need to get as much moisture into your body as possible. Now, I know because I experienced it last year when I was 3 miles from Glastonbury Festival, and there were certain things going on in the air there and frequencies, and I broke my ankle. And as you know, I've healed it naturally without surgery. And that's why at this point in time now, because the cosmos and the atmospheric pressure has changed, you will feel a weakness in your knees and your ankles. So how do we counteract this? Well, like I said, these elbows and these knees and this forehead are your earthing chakra points to the earth. So you need to avoid really hot sunlight at the moment if you're having eye sensitivity. Some people can naturally acclimatize to this energy, or they might feel it more in a few weeks to come when the red dwarf comet comes through. That might hit you more before the blue Kachina comet star comes, which is Nibrua, okay? So we've gone through Comet 19 coming in a few weeks ago, which has affected the planetary atmosphere and weather globally. And so when that happens, you need to go and do like you see the people who pray to Allah do. Get your elbows on the earth, your knees on the earth, your forehead on the earth. It's a natural earthing. It will earth you quicker than even walking barefoot on the earth, okay? So that's one thing we can do. I've written my notes down just to remind me what we're going to be talking about. Oh, so the other thing is, although sometimes people are saying, an anti-malaria drug might be right for you. If you want to go with that reality, obviously you can't get your hands on this anti-malaria drug, but what you can get hold of is Schweppes tonic, which has quinine in it. Okay, you can take that, it has quinine in it, and if you take some zinc as well, that would help you with altitude or radiation sickness, which I think is probably part of what maybe kind of malaria is, because they often recommend taking this as an anti-malaria because it's got quinine in it. You can buy the herb. I have bought some herb and I'm waiting for it to arrive. I also bought some seeds of it. It's interesting because when you order those seeds, it was very, very interesting because they looked like a molecule we're being shown at the moment. You know, there's a certain molecule we're being shown, and it looks like that healthy molecule. That's interesting because plants usually look like what they're here to help you with. Also, if we look at the new £20 note, that has a molecule on it as well, which is the molecule of the moment, let's say. Let's call it the molecule of the moment. And we all know what that molecule of the moment is, don't we? That's right. So, oh, someone says they've bought the Schweppes. Yeah, I've drunk quite a bit, which did help me a little bit. I've also made a little spray with lavender myself. Now, of course, because most of us are at home, you know, there's only so much we can do. I don't want you thinking, gosh, go and buy things that are going to be really tricky for you to buy at this point in time is pointless. Because that's just going to cause you stress and anxiety. So the other thing that I'm doing, which I'll show you, is I have this. It's filled with gel. You could just use a cloth or an ice cube. At the back of your neck, which I'm just going to show you, this is your golden disc, okay? You can regulate your whole body temperature within seconds or minutes by just keeping that cool. That's why I'm wearing this. It just lowers my body temperature very, very quickly, and I feel really good. It stops my head feeling like it's expanding. Now, everybody probably has access to getting some ice cubes, so just put those at the base of your neck, take your body temperature down really, really quickly. The other thing I'm using, but I don't want you to feel you need to go and do this, is I've got copper to earth myself. Make sure when you go out walking, walk barefoot as much as you can on the natural earth, and be aware of shoes that are not natural fibres. So the sole of your shoe needs to be a natural fibre to earth you to the ground, okay? You need to be earthed to the ground. If you're getting a high lot of static in your house, please turn off the Wi-Fi as much as possible. And also, just over this period of time that we're in now, if you live in a house on your own, great. If you're attached to someone else or you're in a flat, do the best you can. But power down the mains electricity in your house, because in the UK, as I have said in my other videos, we run off a single circuit which creates like a Faraday cage, but it pushes it in, so it pushes all the energy in, so you get a lot of electromagnetic energy in your house, in your body, which is not good when we've got high radiation outside, okay? Because we need to acclimatise to these new weathers and temperatures, and it takes our bodies a little while to do these things, okay? So I'm just going to look at some of the comments and see what anyone's saying. Claire's doing yoga on the beach. Now, bear in mind, Claire is in Kuwait, and let's see. I wouldn't really be drinking too much alcohol at this time. That's really not going to help you, because you need to keep moisture in your body. So Corona is the crown chakra. So we're activating our crown chakra. So we're going through this global awakening. The other thing that you can do is, you know, I talked about nebulizers and other ways of assisting you to breathe, but all you need to do is do pranic breathing. So you need to really breathe easily. So pranic breathing is, you know, I'll just do my version of pranic breathing, which is basically thumb on one finger, ring finger the other way, like that. So you're doing that. So you do in and out and out with your mouth closed. So join in with me now. So in, out, in, out. Do you feel you're getting more air into your body, into your lungs? That's a positive. Okay, if you're really sensitive, the sun and the atmosphere right now, do not go out after around about now. Don't go out between 11 and about 4:30, 5 if the sun's really bright. Close your curtains to allow yourself to get used to the brightness of the sun. I've been through this process. If you get really tightness in your lungs, just kind of go outside if you can, or do this breathing if you feel like that your lungs are collapsing on you. Those of you who are spiritual might want to call on, thank you Helen for mentioning this a few weeks ago when it happened to me, call on White Craft Buffalo Woman to assist you with water energies and your breathing stabilities, okay? So just call on those energies, but you will stabilize your breathing by doing that breathing technique. And if some of you still want to get things like a nebulizer, I bought this one. This is the one I bought off Amazon, but I haven't needed it. But I bought that. That's the one I bought on Amazon. You can charge it on your computer, but you can also, you need to have it for batteries. You can't just rely on mains electricity, okay? So that's the one I got. It was like £30 or something. The other thing I got, although I don't think I necessarily need it, okay, this is if you're in the 3D, 4D reality, okay? I'm covering 5D reality and different realities. I've bought a big lamp of this, like a big one, this big, okay? And it beams out UVC lighting. Now, UVC lighting, supposedly, according to this, kills mold, bacteria, viruses, and the coronavirus by 99.9%. This is a hand portable UVC sanitizer. The only thing with these, if you're going down this 3D route, okay, is you can't be in the house when you do it, and you need to leave it for an hour after you've done it and kind of ventilate the house. The food industry use these. This is a hand one with a battery, and I've got another one. That's more if you're in 3D and you want to go that reality. If you've got a lot of mold in your house, it's definitely going to help you anyway, because as it says, it's for coronavirus, viruses, bacteria, and mold, and that's 99.9% accurate, so it says. So that's a little, if that makes you feel good and you want to get that, you know. I have taught the other week, if you go back to my other videos, there were some things that you can take. I've been drinking dandelion tea because I've got dandelions in my garden, so they help cleanse the liver and kidneys. You can take a tiny, tiny drop of iodine. You won't get that in Boots. They're not going to sell you that in Boots. You might get it in your health food store. You might get it on Amazon. Don't panic too much if you haven't got that. What else have I been taking? High levels of vitamin C. You can get in various forms. Google that, look that up yourself. That's if you've got a sore throat and you feel like it's in your throat, like, because remember, we're breathing in these particles that have come from the stratosphere, and as more comets and things and asteroids move about, there's going to be more debris and weather changes coming to the planet in the coming weeks and months to come and years to come, possibly. And the only way we're going to survive and thrive is by attuning to the new energies of the planet. And Mother Nature has everything at hand for us to survive this. And of course, we have to stay in our hearts. You know, Lisa's saying it's like QVC days. Except I'm not making anything out of promoting these. I'm just showing you. You don't have to get this brand. There's all sorts out there. I'm just saying there's some of your options out there. My hair's drying, and like I said, I've made myself a bit of a lavender spray to keep myself moist, because you need to keep dry. I'm putting coconut oil on, and I'm putting castor oil on my body as well, to keep my body moist in these times. If you want to take heavy metals out of your body, this is coriander. I've got some coriander growing at the moment, so I'll be taking that later because that pulls the heavy metals out of your body. I'm going to be having some pineapple. They're my top tips at present. I hope that helps. Someone's saying MMS is great. I have some MMS. I haven't actually used it. Let me just look at your comments just now. So hope that's helping. I'm using certain words to allow this to be shown, so I hope that helps you. Storms, yeah, Claire. Yeah, when you go out in these storms, be careful. Do stay in, because when you breathe in those air particles, if you've got any health issues already, they're going to get on your lungs, and that's why you need to drink warm water to stop it going on your lungs, because once it gets on your lungs, then your breathing is really compromised. So go back to the beginning of the video and watch all the things I've mentioned for that. Of course, fear and anxiety and terror is going to get worse if you haven't cleared your karmic backlog from all other timelines which are coexisting now, and we're oscillating between the third to the fourth to the fifth dimension. So this is like, you know, and until you've stabilized yourself in a new frequency, and Earth has stabilized herself in a new frequency as well, it's going to be slightly so let's just look. I've got some meditations on my website for free if you want to download the longer 43-minute going through your chakras meditations and releasing fears from different energy points of your body. But we're going to bring in a light language now for clearing some programming that may have gone in via media, television, films, cartoons. We're just bringing a light language to clear all that is working for our soul's highest purpose, so that we can attune to our natural authentic self and our natural authentic brain frequency, with it tuned into Gaia, to the natural rhythm of our bodies. Okay, so we're going to bring in light language to clear all that with your own permission of your own soul. If this doesn't feel right for you, don't listen, tune out. You have the free will to do that. There are two options at hand. You know, there are two realities playing out. You can stay with one and maybe you go to a different reality, more like a Billykins, you know, kind of reality, and that's your free will to choose that reality. Okay, I'm not choosing that reality myself, so you must choose the reality that you want to herald yourself into at this time. So let's just breathe in and let this light language flow through our physical bodies. So que satara mi kiana romokuya kiana makuya arantaka makuya ela makura katiana ramakuya isatara makuya kiana ramakuya arantaka makuya ela makura inara makuya isatara makuya kiana ramakuya ela makuru kutuma kiana ramakuya breathing in, breathing out. These light language codes will be affecting you in a positive way, but it will be a detoxing depending how much toxic backlog you need to clear, how much fear, how much past life stuff, how much inner child stuff, ancestral stuff you've got to clear. You've got to kind of go through that process, dietary changes as well, trying to avoid processed food, go for natural processed food. I mean, where you go now is really dependent on how able you are to either live in alignment with Mother Earth or adapt very quickly. What you live will create your reality, and whether you are going to be moving into the higher frequency of the planet, or whether it will get very challenging for you to be here. I appreciate that most people will have some form of ascension symptoms going on since the asteroids came into the reality. So just breathe out. That light language might have affected some of you quite deeply. Like I said, I have guided meditations that all ground as well, and we need to ground at this time into our physical bodies. If any of this is of value to you, thank you. Please share it with your friends and family. If you feel you want to be downloading some of my meditations, that's there. There's a heart activation on YouTube. There's one for clearing fear. The heart one has a donation button. It's only for £1 to PayPal. If you wanted to do that, it's your free will. Thank you very much. I would be most grateful for that if you've enjoyed these videos and found them of use. So many blessings, much love. We're going to cover some questions now if anybody's got any questions. Let's just see what everybody's saying here. Mainly thank you. I can't actually see any questions as such. Let's just see. I'm going to just look on here. Wait 1 second. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you, Melanie, Belinda, Hannah. Lisa says she's not feeling, you've probably gone through it, Lisa. You've done a lot of work, as I know, and I've worked with you quite a bit on a one-to-one level. So you might have gone through some of them yourself, because your soul holds a frequency. Anyway, hold on one second. If you're going to drink water, this one might be Volvic. But I'm lucky, there's a well where I live. I can get the well water as well. So let's see. What did you put in the nebulizer? Oh, I just put water. There's water in it. I just, you know, you want to cover all bases just now. So it's like, I'm not really going out in the daytime when the sun's high like this. I'm not roaming around. That's not what my body's been guided to do. But if you insist on roaming around and you get shortness of breath and you don't do the pranic breathing, you might need a nebulizer. Like I got a nebulizer for my mum and dad, and I got a more expensive one that they could maybe share in their house. But so far those guys are doing well. They're not going out in the daytime. I don't think there's been major asteroids, stratosphere changes over their house. There was here where I live. I mean, probably 2 weeks ago, there was dust falling from the sky. It was freezing cold here. People were in coats, and in the next village, they were jogging in blistering heat because I drove to through the next village to go to the supermarket. So I saw the reality differences. So there are local realities, which is probably why they want you to stay local, because on a spiritual level, I know where the ley lines are in my village. And as you go from third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension, and there's a split in the timelines, you will see accidents. Like I went out the other week, and I know I've said this in another video, my plumber says people are always driving into his hedge normally. So there was a car upside down in his hedge. But this is what I'm saying. So that's probably why in some ways you're being advised to not drive too far. There are positives in the guidance, but they're not telling you the complete story, that it's about the corona stratosphere changes and planet Nibrua and the red dwarf, which is yet to come. You can Google the red dwarf. There's a lot of people saying there'll be a lot of red ash when that happens. There's been a lot of ash over my car, and it was like things were sort of melting outside, and that was probably 2 weeks ago now. The air is clearing here now. 2 weeks ago, there was a lot of toxins in the air, so I had to do all the things I've just said previously. If you've just started watching, I did all those things, and I'm now really stabilizing my ascension in these energies. Last night though, I did wake up in the night twice, and as you saw me explaining to you about how to earth yourself, so go back in the video on how to earth yourself. I did that under the moonlight outside, and I really felt like the strength come back to my knees, and I felt my body was more grounded. It was cooler, and as I said, I'm keeping this cool thing. I keep soaking it in water. You can just use a face cloth or an ice cube or something, you know. All the advice is here. It's your free will to listen to that or not listen to it. I felt the light lounge cleared behind my heart. Yeah, it will clear behind your heart. I've worked so hard to be able to speak these light language codes. You have no idea what I had to do to get my light language of my throat chakra back. And because I got mugged and strangled 20 plus years ago outside my flat when I lived in London, which was these guys trying to take out my throat chakra. So if you look at my videos from when I used to work on TV and doing the regressions, that was not my authentic voice. It was being hijacked. It was going into strangulated frequencies. So a lot of you I've been working with on a one-to-one level. We've been clearing our throat chakra. So we've been doing a lot of work on healing our throat chakras to get our authentic voices back. Someone says their nostril feels. Yeah, do the pranic breathing for your nostril. You know, you could buy a neti potty, but you know, now's not the time maybe to try and buy a neti potty. So just make your own neti potty, which is, I presume most of you have got some sort of like natural salt, whether that's Himalayan or Celtic salt. Just dissolve that in a cup and just snort it up your nose a little bit, or get a pipette and just drop some salty water up your nose, and that'll unblock your sinuses as well. So I hope that's helpful. You know, at this point in time, there's no point panicking that you have not got the things. Like I said, you know, if you struggle to get a nebulizer or something like that, don't worry, you know, just do the pranic breathing. You know, all the tools are at hand. Scroll back to the beginning, and everything that I've given you advice to do is within your capacity to do this while you're under lockdown. It's within your ability to do it. You have the ability to do it. It's your free will whether you choose to do it. If you're in a garden, like I said, you've got the dandelions, that's going to clear your liver and kidneys. If you've breathed in any of this planetary dust that came from the sky, which may have got activated by chemtrailing, may have got activated by other frequencies. I'm not sure about that. All I know is that there were sonic booms from the stratosphere and ash fell, and that has affected breathing in my local reality where I live. And the other symptoms that I have gone through is shortness of breath. I would Google, as I said, go back to the beginning, look up radiation sickness, high altitude sickness, all the things that I've mentioned, cover those things and can assist you at this point in time. Yeah, you've got to stay calm. Now, we could go back to some of my channelings from 2011 when I woke up. These are very personal and I've never shared them, but they seem relevant to now. So for those of you who are really quite evolved, it's quite very personal for me to share my channelings. I've got books of them. But this is the one I've been guided to. I had an out-of-body experience on the 23rd of September 2001, okay? So I asked what happened to me when I had this out-of-body experience, and I was told what happened last night was a meeting between time and space. No harm was to come to you. We would never allow such an event. Time is of no relevance in the stratosphere. On Earth, time is set and you live by it. We have no such parameters here. You were taken to a place for the benefit of humanity to nurture and grow the new species of humankind. Your words of wisdom were of greatness to them, and they thank you, send good wishes. Much will come to pass that will amaze you, but everything that is done is in the purity of the light and good intent. There are people whose negative energies will be released by such positive ones. That includes you. You know, you hold positive energies, going to trigger the negative in people. So there are people whose negative energies will be released by such positive ones. That's you, encapsulate. But these people will burn away. Good overcomes evil. It will often be disguised in sweet form. Make no mistake, these people wish to only create discourse in the world. But you have the ability we have given to you to overcome their mutterings. Save those that can be saved, for they will be the people in the new world. It gives us a much better starting point when we begin with a greater percentage of positive energies. Of course, some negative ones will come, but also they will be minimal. It's too great a task to expect only positive ones. At the end of the next trillennium, so this was in 2001, so this is the trillennium. At the end of the next trillennium, we will begin again. And so it goes on. Time and space go forth to create a place where few have been and many wish to go. We will take you and show you, but you will not remember, for the mind is a delicate organ and must be protected at all times. Too much knowledge of other worlds holds humanity on Earth in a state of limbo. We wish you well and thank you once again for your help and understanding, as once again you go forth in the light. So I have many channelings of that nature, but at this point in time, they seem very relevant to 2020. So that knowledge was given to me in September 2001, at the beginning of my great awakening and everything that ever happened to me. So I hope that assists you. And does anybody else have anything else? I'm just going to scroll up to see what... Yeah, Marie's getting dry throat. Yeah, you've got to keep drinking hot water, not cold water. Do not drink ice. I said this in my other video. Do not drink ice. You've got to stop it from going from your throat down into your lungs, because then you'll have more to clear out then. So you need to kind of keep moisture, you know, drink natural things, spray, you know, it can be just water, it doesn't have to be lavender. I just happened to grow lavender in my garden and I picked it last year. So spray, spritz. I'm sure you've got a bottle you can do that with. If you want to use, if you can't get a natural well water where you live. Just go and maybe get some. I particularly like Volva. I know it's in a plastic bottle, but it's good. Just spritz, spritz, spritz. You know, if you've only got tap water, use tap water, okay? Yeah, Starseed Power. Power to us. I've got some lovely Starseed key rings as well, if anyone's interested in those. Very good for grounding because they're made with beautiful wood. That's the other thing. We really need to hug the trees. You can't hug humans right now, but you certainly can get a lovely hug from a tree, and that will be gorgeous because they seem to have some lovely male energy. No fear at all. Exactly. You know, you've got to go through the fear. You've got to go through the paranoia. I had a little bit of paranoia the other week myself. I had to burn through the paranoia. Of course, everything that's being done in the 3D reality is to terrorize you and frighten you. But within that is some good advice. You know, it's just not being told to you in the truth of it, what it is. And so therefore, when I explain, as you scroll back and watch what I said, you'll understand why you're keeping a distance, why you're being advised to keep your hands wet, from my perspective, okay, from the ascension perspective. So we can take all these things at hand. You have a free will which path you choose. You know, most of us who are watching this are going with, you know, remaining with nature. You know, we don't believe in unnatural things being done to our bodies or our loved ones. And, you know, you can only educate people to the level that they want to be educated. And also where I live, I have a hawthorn hedge outside, so I'm going to take a leaf of that. Hawthorn leaves are very good for cleansing the heart, so I'm going to make a hawthorn tea of that. So I'm sure you can find a hawthorn hedge somewhere on your little daily walk, and that might be something you might be able to do. I am working with one-to-one clients. If you live in the UK, please let us work over our landline phone. So if you want to book a session with me, I will give you my landline number to call me on if you want to do those sessions, half an hour or an hour. They're the Skype sessions. As emotions come up, if you feel you've got a lot of stuff coming up. We're going to be working with all kinds of people. I was very thrilled the other day to work with a gentleman who was newly out of prison, still tagged, read some spiritual books while he was in the prison, and he's well on his way to awakening. We had to let go of a lot of guilt and shame of things that he had done, which he disassociated from and not known that he'd done those things, to why he ended up locked up in prison for some time, and he's, you know, still tagged at present. But he, again, is wanting to change his diet, wanting to rid himself of all the negative energies that had affected his consciousness, and it was multi-generational. He may well be listening to this, so many blessings to you and your lovely girlfriend and the baby that's coming soon. But he, you know, truly is healing those ancestral timelines. His ancestor had been down the mines. One of the ancestors had died and the other one tried to save them in a mining disaster. So we have a lot of trauma which shuts our hearts and then allows these lower frequencies into our energy field, and then it becomes multi-generational. So when we're clearing those ancestral timelines, we're clearing programming also that came in from, like I said, certain TV programs, cartoons, and also with him we had to look at video game programming, you know, which a lot of young people, predominantly males, have listened to this video programming. So we're really seeing that programming with light language codes, which were specific for his soul. I'm sure there are some generic ones which I have made. They're free, they're on YouTube. You can find those light language codes, mainly for chaos, fear, opening your heart. So they're all available to you. Yes, someone's having a daily hike, and Claire said our tribe is very visible now. Yeah, isn't it, Claire? You know, we're all right doing this work. Petruska is saying hot and cold, and yeah, I'm going through all these things too, but I'm feeling amazing and I'm stabilizing my energy now. So that's been useful. One other thing, although I'm vegan, I will be very honest about what I was guided to do the other day. Now, don't forget, this is where I live. So you have local reality, and your local reality is the most important. I am placed during this process literally in a house in the middle of a field, surrounded by my neighbours who either work in the NHS or they're farmers or they're ex-media people. Okay, so I'm in this place with this people breeding animals. So I have been vegan for a long time, but I was guided the other day to go and buy local milk, okay, just local milk, and I've had it in my coffee. And the reason I was guided to do it is there are certain proteins in cow's milk. Now, you don't want to go where they're massive factory farm. These are local cows. And let me just read you what it actually is. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so these are local to my community, and it's pasteurized. It's not what happens when you go to the supermarket and it's mass bought. This is local. So the reason I was guided to do that, there are certain proteins that are good for your brain. And because I'm doing this planetary work and I'm living in a very dense 3D reality, I had to stabilize my energy to be able to go from 3D, 4D, 5D. And so by drinking some of this milk, what I was shown from my intuitive self would, although I wouldn't normally be eating animal products, I was told that it would help me to stabilize my frequency because I'm living in an area where this is the reality. So it stabilizes my frequency in the local reality, okay, for this transition period of time. Because when I was eating too many plant things, it was not stabilizing my energy for my local reality. So your local reality will be something very different maybe to my local reality. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm being very honest about that to explain that. And also because when you don't eat animal products, you don't get mucus in your body, okay? And normally that would, you know, so I wouldn't get a cold or anything like that. But if you're breathing in ash that is coming from the stratosphere in this dust particles, you need to create mucus to bring it off your body. So that would, creating the dairy would create a little bit of mucus to lift that out of my body, okay, because it would give you an ability to create mucus to release it, okay, so it doesn't stay on your lungs. That was part of what I was shown. But don't go and buy shop bought stuff. You need to find the local one that's unpasteurized, which means they haven't done what they do for it to go into a supermarket. If you're vegan and you can't get that, just don't, you know, don't worry too much. Maybe get some organic, whatever you can get, just a little bit. Just try to see if you have a lot of issues and that is your inner guidance. I'm just being super honest to tell you what my guidance was. So breathe out. That's maybe not going to be suitable information for everybody. They might disagree with you. Everybody's got to do what they feel to survive. I am just in the middle of a farm, basically. I'm surrounded by chickens, cows, sheep, all those things. I think in the higher vibration, the sheep will remain. This is my vision, okay? And we'll just have our own little sheep that once a year, when it's coat, because some sheep, their coats naturally come off every year, they need to do that. So we'll take that wool and we'll make our jumpers and we'll make our duvets and our pillows out of our own little sheep that we love. And he's happy to give their fluff and fur, you know, and they don't get horrible things happening to them for that. And you know, like a more loving way to look after them. Some of them will disappear from this reality. They won't exist in the fifth dimension, and other animals will appear that have been lost to this world. So that's my knowledge and advice for today. Take it or leave it, follow your heart, whatever you feel's right for you. And I've experienced this too, being guided to eat things that I wouldn't for the energy work reasons on my path. Thanks, Tia. So yeah, you're having a similar experience. It's all about honor and love, and so let's just be in our hearts. Thank you for being here. I'm going to bring in a high frequency for our crown chakra, for our Karuna chakra. So let's just bring this in. Thank you for joining me. Please, if you've enjoyed this video, share it. Info's on I've got tons of info on my Facebook page. This one, Andrea Fouts, Past Life Regression, Intuitive Visionary, and also on my Andrea Fouts personal page, however long those stay available. And I'm going to upload this to YouTube later on. So just breathe in. Let's all join together. Let's visualize around the world as all awakening to this intuitive knowledge and wisdom that lies within all of us, and awakening our DNA codes to the Lemurian timelines of absolute love, where we know we can heal ourselves. We can go through a planetary ascension process. Most of us who are watching this very early have been through that planetary process before in the timelines of existence of this planet or other planets. And we're just going to bring in a crown chakra clearing. So just breathing out. So many blessings, much love at this time in this planetary change, this awakening. And thank you for all listening today. We're a core group all listening, and we can share this knowledge and wisdom with our friends, but it's their free will. It's a free will planet. Everybody gets to choose which reality they want to take. So let's just stay in our hearts, be in love, know that fears, paranoia, anxiety, all going to come through us and out. And the more we detach from the 3D reality and use it with discernment, you know, like there are some benefits, like right now the internet, but in time we'll be tuning as a core group through our inner net. And some of you already do tune in through the inner net. And that's where we may be meeting eventually on the internet if need be. So much love. Thank you for watching. Many blessings. And I was Andrea. Thanks. So thank you. Much love. Bye bye everybody. Bye. Bye bye. If you've got any comments you want to share to help other people or look at my other videos, that would be great. Much love. Bye bye for today. Bye.